So this is John Barrow,
Hiya.
and we're sat in Eastern Bloc,
Yep,
and it's your 40th anniversary, isn't it? In
it
a
is.
couple of weeks.
1985 we started, yeah.
Where was you on the top floor in Affleck?
We've started out on the second floor of Affleck's Palace.
Yeah.
For 2 years. At that point, we were just selling indie stuff. So,
Yeah.
like, stuff that we distributed through Red Rhino, through the cartel, it was called then. So, Rough Trade, Red Rhino, and about 4 other independent distributors
Yeah.
in the country. It was quite a... Yeah, it was the birth of, like, indie through Rough Trade, really. That's
Yeah.
how it started. So, we're just 4 of us. Me, Martin Price, 808, Michael Powers, Paul Eiland. We just got a van, got a couple of grand, went over to Red Rhino in York, selected out the warehouse what we were going to sell, and moved it back to Manchester and started. Very small scale at first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it started to build and build. After 2 years, we moved downstairs to the Affleck's Arcade, which was on Oldham Street, the front unit there. That's really when it started to take off.
Yeah.
And then the house music started, and we started doing that, which was an interesting little story there. We were just selling indie at first, and then there was a guy called Andy Helms, Mad Hatter, who used to DJ in Manchester, and he worked for a company in London, Record Imports, who were an importer from America. And he used to deal with spinning, basically. They were the only people doing it in Manchester at that point in time, and they were doing, like, just American imports, dance music, basically. House music started coming out. Andy just came round one day in his van. We didn't know who he was. And he said, "You should be selling this stuff, lads. Try some of this." And he had a box of, like, Chicago tracks, all sorts of underground stuff. And we listened to it, thought, it's not too bad, this.
Yeah.
But we with no idea how it were going to sell. We didn't know, but we were into it. So
What year was that, John?
that was about 1980. Ooh, 87, 88, I would have said.
Yeah.
Probably 87, maybe 88. And we just tried that box he gave us. We bought most of it ourselves.
Yeah.
But we could see the interest in it, so we started to push that. And it just started to build from there, really. I mean, it was Madchester time, so you had, like... We were massive on all the indie stuff, Stone Roses and Spiral Carpets, you name it. Yeah, so that sort of opened up a different angle for us altogether. And that's, we were all more into that than we were into the indie side of things. And we just went for that, basically.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed and snowballed. It really did.
Can you remember what was in that box? I'd love to know.
Not off the top of my head. I don't even know. It was the early Chicago stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And there were some acid tracks in there. And they were the ones that really interested us. Because we were always into, like, the harder edge industrial stuff that was around at the time. A few Detroit bits, they really picked areas up. It just sounded completely fresh. Paul, were just, like, completely different than anything that was about at the time.
Yeah.
And you could see the potential in it. Yeah, it was a very small market at the beginning then. Spinning used to deal with the DJs in the area, and they'd only import a few things. They were really expensive as well. They used to charge a fortune because it was rare. It was like you couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
The only place you could get it was, like, us or them. We just marked it up at the normal price we were selling records for, so our normal margin, which made us way cheaper than spinning were.
Do you remember how much it was? I remember spinning, I think it was £5 an import.
Yeah.
Spinning.
Yeah, well, at that time, it would have been about that, yeah.
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 They used to charge more than that at the time for some stuff. If it was rare, they'd bump the price up.
Yeah.
And they had... they used to supply Stu Allen, who used to do the radio at the time.
Yeah.
And anybody who was into that side, the American Lighthouse and dance stuff, used to listen to Stu. So they had an instant promotion for their tracks. They'd give Stu somewhere, he'd play it. Loads of people had won it. It was like that sort of process.
Yeah.
But they limited the amount that were going out. They didn't seem to... do you know what I mean? They had the people who go in the shop, and if you weren't one of the boys, you wouldn't be able to get this track. You had to, know them and things like that.
Yeah.
We just mass marketed it, basically.
Yeah.
We just got as many as we could, trying to go in.
Yeah. Coffee break.
We just got as many as we could.
Yeah.
started dealing with other companies in London as well. So Greyhound were a big supplier for us. We had good contacts with them.
Who's that?
Greyhound, they
Yeah.
were another distributor in London.
I forgot that name.
And then G&M, Music Machine. Yeah, it was about 3 or 4 distributors we started to deal with in London. So yeah, and it just snowballed from there, really. So a lot of the DJs started coming to us. We started pushing it to other people, and the scene just went. Hacienda was happening. All the DJs were playing the stuff. The house scene at the time started to take off. Loads of different fresh people coming into it. So there was crossover. The people who were buying other stuff off us started to get interested in this because we were pushing it. And it snowballed from there. A lot of the local clubs started playing it. So you'd have DJs like Dave Booth, for example, who was an indie DJ, but he'd hear some house stuff and think, actually, and he started playing that. So he'd sort of, he'd go out to nights then, and you'd hear the complete spectrum of stuff. So you'd hear like Leo Stanley DJing and people like that. They'd play the house stuff, they'd play the indie stuff, and it started to cross over into that scene as well. More people started to turn on. Clubs started to set up in Manchester, little clubs here, there, and everywhere, and they started to get really popular and bigger. So, it's just the scene just started to build and build and build.
There was loads of new clubs opening, wasn't there? I remember like Precinct 13,
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy was a good one. Thunderdome was a big one. Yeah. Jay Whedon doing his clubs as well. He had a few going. And it was just like, and then it started to move out of town as well. So you get clubs in little, like in Blackpool and places like that. Mountain League are promoting, all sorts of people promoting stuff. And the nights were really popular.
Yeah.
It just started to, that's what people wanted. So yeah, that was a massive help.
You've got a black box story, haven't you?
I have got a Mike story. Well, we started to deal with the European importers as well. So as well as the American stuff coming out, you had all the European stuff. So you had like all the Italian stuff, all the Belgian stuff, a few French things, and we started to deal direct with them. So we deal like with Music Man, who in Belgium, and he'd do like all the R&S stuff. So he started getting the European sort of house stuff coming through, which was quite popular over here at the time. Didn't have the class of the American stuff, but it had the instant, if you're out in a club, you'd hear quite a few European tracks. Black box things, we were dealing with Discomania in Italy, and we used to ship direct from them. They sent a shipment over. In one of the boxes, there was just 2 records. They just chucked them in, basically, were like promos. Just black labels, no information, no idea where it was. We played it. Thought, actually, that's going to do business there. At the time, Mike Pickering was in the shop buying stuff, and we just put it on. He heard it. He said, "I'll have one of them." I'm like, "Okay, I've only got 2 of these, but it's Mike Pickering." And we used to license stuff for the labels at that time, so we got in touch with them, said we're interested in licensing this track, but unbeknownst to us, Mike Pickering had already moved that evening and made a move and signed it up for deconstruction.
Yeah.
Made it a massive super hit. We missed out on that one, but that was the days. There was so many records coming in that people wanted to sign and stuff. So you'd have a lot of people from the labels coming in looking for stuff to sign. That was quite a big thing at the time. People had signed things from Europe, put them out in the UK. Yeah. So yeah, Martin at that time started 808 Stay. So yeah, we started the label at that point. Martin with Gerald was coming at the time. Martin and Gerald got on pretty well. He knew Graham. He got Graham in, and the original lineup was them 3: Martin Price, Gerald, and Graham Massey. And they whip up New Build out through a deal through Rough Trade, through the cartel, on Creed. That album, when it started, well, you know the album, it's quite underground, hard edge acid stuff. It did pretty well.
Did it?
It did, yeah. Well, today it's recognised as like a milestone of that sort of style. I mean, people like Aphex Twin Name Jacket, it's an influential album at the time. As time's gone by, it's become more influential.
We used to come in when I think I was in my last year at school, and then we used to think Martin was hilarious.
What,
I
sorry?
think Martin was hilarious.
He was
Just
hilarious.
some of the things he'd say.
Yeah.
Like the guys in spinning were like laid back and cool, and then Martin was just completely bonkers.
Martin was completely bonkers,
Uh,
but genius guy, Martin. You see,
Well, he said to us,
without Martin, there wouldn't have been an Eastern Bloc. It was his thing. I mean, well, I first met Martin when we were really young. We were just hanging around in Bolton. He was from Bolton. We used to go to a club called the Dance Factory. On a Thursday night, they did a Roxy Bowie night. That's where we met him. And we used to take like really underground new wave and punk stuff down and get the DJs to play that. And we took over that night. That's how we met. Then he had an idea. Let's start selling records. It was his baby, really. We just followed him. He was older than us, so we were only kids at the time. We were like 18, 19, 20. He was older. He was like 27, 28. It was his idea to do it, and from all he's a funny guy, Martin, but loads of ideas. He always had that spark of seeing things that other people wouldn't see. This is the way you need to go. So he decided, let's do a shop. Yeah, and he decided, let's do the label. He was more the mouthpiece of the thing. But he'd tell you straight.
yeah. Well, we were in there.
There's people with scars to this day from being slagged off in the shop.
Oh yeah.
We just say like, you don't want to be buying that shit, man. You should be buying that and all that. Quite controversial at the time, but
he said to us,
we had the platform to do that. We did have a reputation for being quite scary at the time because of Martin. You couldn't just come in without getting commented on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said he just added to the aura of the shop, basically. I know we did piss people off sometimes, but it's just the way it was.
He used to write on records, didn't he?
Yeah, it creates an aura and a character for your place, doesn't it, really? Yeah, we were pretty much bad boys of selling records at the time. It's got to be said.
Did you encourage it?
Hmm?
Did you encourage it as an owner?
I didn't encourage him. It's just his normal character.
Yeah.
That's what he was like anyway. For want of a better word, he was the hip priest. He was, definitely. When we met him, I mean, he was mad on the music scene. He followed it, highly followed it. Read all the magazines, Face and magazines like this. He'd know what was going on all over the country, so he'd know what was happening in London. He'd know what was happening, and he did have an eye for what the next thing was. So massive respect to him for that. Same with 808 Star. He had that eye for we can do this.
I couldn't believe it. He said to us, "We've done a record," and we were thinking, because at the time I just thought house music was like black music and it was Chicago, and then when Martin said, "We've done a record," I thought, I bet this will be crap. And then he put it on, and it was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah.
He played us Flow Coma, and it's like, "This is incredible."
Yeah. Oh no, he had the eye. He had the eye to see what was going on and to change it slightly and take it forward. I mean, when they did, the next thing we put out was Quadra State, and that included Pacific State, which is obviously the major hits for 808 State at the time, and really launched them as a band from there. But I mean, Gerald had left at that point, so that was Martin, Graham, Andy and Darren came in as well. Martin was more... I mean, Graham had the technical skills. Graham was the engineer and, played most of the stuff. Mine didn't have a lot of talent that way, but his talent was just about what the sound should be like. This is what we need to sound like. This is where we're going. This is how we market it through the shop, through the scene, and the right people, the right DJs. He just had that about him. Yeah. A very, very vision. Which is a unique thing. There's not many people like that. Yeah.
And then spinning, I didn't realise as I've been doing these videos that spinning records have been going since the late 60s.
I didn't know that either. You told me that.
Yeah. I'm learning as I go along.
I remember when we started, we didn't really know anything about them. They weren't in our markets at all. So,
And they dominated the inputs. And then
They did.
I don't want to say you took over, but you did really, didn't you, for house imports? Like you became the biggest shop, really, didn't you? Eventually, yeah.
We mass marketed it. They were very much in the niche with it. They limited what was going out. From the feedback we were getting from the people coming in, you went to spin in and they'd only have 3 copies of something. And they were the same. Oh, you can't have that. There's only 3 of them. We're giving them to this guy or this guy who's got a bit more credibility about him rather than you. We just didn't do that. We said, if it's there, oof, you can have it. And we used to buy loads of it. So we'd buy like 50, 100 copies. If we liked a track, we'd buy like, how many have you got on your van, mate? We'll have all them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we'd get them to get some more and we'd smash them out, we'd push them and, make something of it. Whereas spinning were more a bit laid back like that. They're just trying to keep it very niche.
Yeah.
Which is limiting the market. I don't know. That's the feedback we were getting from the DJs at the time. So most of the DJs who were going for them, for house, just started to come to us because they knew they were going to get what they wanted, basically.
And a lot of the big DJs worked for you, didn't they, in Eastern Bloc?
At the time, yes, they did. Well, we had all the DJs used to come around, but Justin Robertson, I suppose, was the big DJ who worked for us at the time. But we had like Moonboots work for us, Andy A, all sorts of people. We had Mike was working on the staff, Mike E. Block.
Yeah.
And he did the illustrious and direct stuff. Yeah. So we had a lot of DJs, but all the DJs in the area used to come to us. At that time, if you wanted house imports, there was us spinning. Nobody else in the Northwest.
Yeah.
At that point in time, in like about 1989, 1991, 92, a lot of little shops started to set up in all of the like satellite towns. So you get somebody in Bolton, somebody in Blackburn, somebody, all over the place.
Yeah.
But if you wanted, so before that point in time, late 80s, early 90s, people from all of the Northwest, in fact, from all of the North used to come to us. We used to get a lot of people from the Midlands as well. We had the reputation then. If you wanted to play house music, you had to come and see us. And we just had the perfect vehicle to push it. So, if you're supplying records to Sasha and he's playing out every Saturday night, or Steve Williams, John De Silva, something like that, you can give them a track, they'll make it, and people who are hearing it will know where they've got it from, and they'll come to us for it. It's like a feedback loop.
Did any international DJs come in? Any American ones come in to the shop?
At the time, the thing in America, the DJs over there and the artists weren't really that big in their own country. The house thing was bigger over here than it was over there. So they'd come over here and they wouldn't realise how famous or popular they were over here. So you get, like Kevin Saunders had come in.
Kevin Saunders?
Yeah. Kevin
Saunders came?
Yeah. He used to sign his stuff. We used to
have you kept it?
I've got a copy somewhere of Inside Out that he signed on red vinyl. God knows where it is, but I've got it probably in my attic somewhere.
Yeah. Can we go there now?
We used to get like Frankie Bones would come in, Marshall Jefferson, you name it. Jeff Mills did a set in the shop for us. That was crazy.
Wow.
That was for the launch of his mix album. But yeah, they didn't realise how popular they were.
Yeah.
Interesting to see when they came. They were like, "Whoa, big news over here."
Yeah.
Kevin Saunders, especially with his inner city stuff, was really taking off then. Good Life.
Yeah.
Like, major hit over here. Fuck all in America. It was big over here.
Yeah.
Big in Europe. They were surprised at how popular they were, which is interesting. Yeah. Your
favourite type was techno, wasn't it?
I used to play everything at that point in time.
Yeah.
I've still got a broad taste, right through from the underground American garage stuff, house stuff. Always like the Chicago tracks and acid stuff. There was an acid tracks LP out that I thought was really influential at the time.
Yeah.
But my favourite stuff was always the early Detroit stuff.
Yeah.
So the early Saunderson stuff when he was like recent San Antonio stuff.
Yeah.
The early Derek May stuff I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And there's like just that machine element to them. And then you started to get, the underground resistance stuff coming out, which I thought again was really good. So yeah, I like the techno stuff. I always did.
I know a few people have messaged me and said to ask you about the Orbit.
It's a funny thing because I mean, I employed Huggy, Paul Huggy, who was from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Super keen guy, loves his music. He used to
Yeah.
come in and he was so enthusiastic about music and stuff. There weren't many clubs in Yorkshire at that time playing that sort of stuff, and you couldn't really get records there. So he was one who had to come to Manchester to get his tunes. He just said, "There's a few guys in Yorkshire setting this club up. If you fancy DJing with us, we'll be residents." And I thought, "That'll be shit this, but I'll give it a go." We went. We did the first night. I mean, it wasn't in Morley at first. It was in Ossett, which is a bit further out from Leeds. And we did the first night. I couldn't believe how busy it was. We got there and there was a queue right round the corner.
Yeah.
About 1,000 people. It was rammed. Really good night. After about 2 or 3 months, might be a bit longer doing that place, we moved to Morley, into the big place there. And yeah, it just started to take off. But at that time we weren't playing just techno at that time. We were playing all sorts of house, all sorts of underground stuff, even some like commercial house stuff. But at that point in the scene, like I said to you, you'd go out in the night and you'd hear a full range of house music. It wouldn't be stylized. Clubs played everything then. They didn't really get into that narrow niche of, it's a techno club, it's a drum and bass club, it's a house club or whatever, it's a garage club.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. You'd hear the full spectrum. So yeah, the Orbit after a couple of years started to specialise in the techno side of things, mainly due to the promoters and what me and Huggy were playing. So yeah, that's how that happened.
I went one night. So when I was a student in Leeds, so I think it was 1993, and Sven Vath was on.
Yeah.
And
Sven.
did he ever come in the shop?
I don't think he ever did, not that I ever remember. Some of the other guys from Heart House did, the Resistance D guy did, and a couple of the others. But I don't think Sven ever did, no.
I remember, I couldn't believe it because people went out early. So there was I couldn't believe people were queuing at like 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, easy.
And then
before then, really.
Yeah. And then when we got in there was people that were tripping bollocks off.
Oh,
like people like that paranoid that don't make eye contact with them. And it's like that was right at the start of the night, like about 8:30.
Dance all night.
Yeah.
Sven changed that club before. I remember Sven's first gig there. The DJ box was right up in the gods in a little corner, and the dance floor's down here. You couldn't see the DJ box basically. Well, very limited. Sven said, "Right, there's a stage there. Let's put it down there." So he got them to move it to the stage, which was in the middle of the circle. It was a round sort of circular place, and he put it there, and it stayed there ever after that.
Yeah.
I remember him starting off, played his first record, danced all the way around the club, all the way around the second, around the balcony. And when the record was finishing, him back down to put his next tune on.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was mega popular at that time. And that was more. He was playing like all the Heart House stuff then, and the IQ stuff, which is quite fast. It's about 150, 160 BPM, trance techno, Frankfurt, German style.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's proper off your head.
Yeah. It was insane. Yeah.
Perfect for that club at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite diverse he was at times, but yeah, at that time it was full on techno.
You ended up selling it eventually, didn't you, Eastern Bloc? Did you sell it to Pete Waterman?
In the end, well, no. The way this happened, we got into. Funny how business gets away from you. We were that popular, we were just buying everything. We got out of kilter financially. We owed the landlord money. Our accountant said, yeah, we put it up for sale. We had, you remember Network Records? No.
I think I do. I think
Neil Rushton from there.
Yeah.
He wanted to buy it. Waterman eventually bought it, which sounded like a really bad move at the time, but actually it turned out really good. He didn't have anything to do with the shop, really.
Yeah.
He just sort of left it with us. He had one of his accountants who opened like a few more shops around the country and bought a few others. That period, it lasted about 2 or 3 years. Waterman moved on, and he just gave it back to us, basically.
Yeah.
John, have it back. I got on with him really well. Never had a problem with him. I know he was the cheese master, but actually, as a person, he's quite a nice guy, really. He's all right. He's down to earth. Working class guy, basically.
Well, he was big behind two-tone, wasn't he? He was big behind two-tone, wasn't he, in Coventry?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, he's a Midlands guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I have the ultimate respect for him. He never did us any harm at all, really. He financed us through that period and then just give it us back for nothing, basically, which is unbelievable.
Have you kept up to date? I can see all these records. I listen to old stuff all the time. Like turn into parents, don't you? Eventually,
you
turn into your parents eventually, and you talk about the good old days. But have you kept up to date with?
Not particularly. I mean, I went deaf in 2008, so music to me, it doesn't sound anything like it used to.
Yeah.
Can't hear the depth and quality in it, so I don't really. Every now and again, I'll hear something and think, "Oh, that sounds good." It tends to be the more sort of minimal side of things, so sparse stuff with not too much going on. The vocals don't sound right to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, instrumental, deep techno sounds good to me.
I believe there was a court case over tickets.
There was a court case. There was actually two court cases we got taken to court for. The first one was in the late 80s. We were selling a crass style punk. So it was like quite radical political stuff. And there was an album by Flocks of Pink Indians who were we put the sleeve in the window, basically. The album's called The Fucking Cunt Street of White Pricks, which is quite offensive. The graphics on the front of it were like naked women and penises and arrows. We stuck that in our front window, not thinking much about it, really. There's quite a few people buying that sort of stuff. It's very underground. You can't really buy it anywhere. Distributed through Rough Trade. We didn't think anything else of it. Next, we got police coming in. Court summons. Somebody's complained about this offensive sleeve in your window, sir. they wanted to sue us for public indecency, basically.
Did they?
Yeah. So we had a court case. It was going to cost. I mean, we saw a solicitor and stuff, and it was going to cost us a fortune to defend ourselves, basically. And we're thinking, why should we defend ourselves? It's not even our record. We're making a stand for not much gain here, with the potential to get hit with a massive fine or even jail sentence or something. The rest of the cartel and Rough Trade were saying, fight this case, we're offering to finance it. I just thought, no, we're going to get bashed here. We can see this being like quite serious. So we just agreed, if you drop the case, we'll take the sleeve out the window. And that's all we did with that one. The next one was, at the time, there was a massive rave scene at the time, and a big percentage of that was illegal warehouse parties. So you just get, I mean, the first few mainly promoters from London. They do like the big one called Blast Off went off.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And then you get like hundreds of little scenes. So the Blackburn scene started. So yeah, so the promoters would come in. I've got this warehouse Saturday night. Hush, hush. Some tickets here. Sell them and get people there. So that scene at the time, you wouldn't know where the rave was. You'd just get a meet on such and such a place, like Services and Charlie or whatever, and follow this car. And you'd end up in this field or something with a massive system going off. And, they were spectacularly good, some of them parties. Very exciting. Half the excitement was finding the place. So, yeah, we used to do tickets for that, not thinking anything of it. James Anderton was the police commissioner at the time. And he took us another, I think it was 5 shops in total, he took to court for selling illegal warehouse party tickets, basically. And he tried to say that we were the organisers of these raves, which we certainly were.
Yeah.
So we got a barrister for that. This is the High Court, Queen's Bench Division. This is serious court. Our barrister said, yeah, you can see, he agreed that we were nothing to do with with the promotion of these things. He said, you can fight this, but the police have got unlimited funding. They can spin this out for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to cost you £1,000 a day if you got that sort of money. You want to defend it, or you can just agree to stop selling illegal warehouse party tickets.
Yeah.
Tickets with no entertainment license, basically. So you can still sell club tickets, but you couldn't. If somebody came in and doing an illegal rave, you weren't allowed to sell them. So yeah, we just decided. We went to the co-op one day and. That's why our barrister said, you win this, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Is it really worth it? And we weren't making much money off them. You're making like £1 a ticket. So it really wasn't worth defending. And out the 5 shops who we took to go, it was only us who turned up. Nobody else gave a shit. Nobody else bothered. So I thought, it's not worth it. So we just agreed to stop selling the tickets, basically. Which we still did. We still sold them, but we just like £100 a job. Not on the scale we were doing it. So yeah. But the scene, people used to do them every weekend. There'd be something going off. James Anderton really clamped down on that scene at the time. So yeah, he turned the police around and started shutting the venues down. The only way, there wasn't really a way forward with it. It was always going to, police would get wind of it. You'd have a special patrol group going around, searching, following people's cars and seeing where they were going, finding the venues, raiding them, nicking the speakers, nicking the DJs, taking the records off them. Helicopters flying around, all sorts of stuff.
There's not been anything like it, has it, in this country? Like even like punk wasn't it?
It was a massive thing.
Yeah.
And so exciting as well.
Yeah.
Half the excitement was the fact it wasn't official. It was completely underground. You'd no idea where you were driving to. You go out on a Saturday night, you go to the service station. Is this the car? And you'd follow a car. Sometimes it'd lead you to a great rave. Sometimes you'd end up going fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
So you'd have a Saturday night out in your car driving around listening to your music. Some people would just turn up on the service station and have a little rave there, you know what I mean? It was quite an exciting times. It was.
Did you ever do anything? Because I've seen a couple of pictures of the basement painted out in Eastern Bloc. Did you ever do anything in Eastern Bloc? Did you ever like...
Not music-wise, no.
Party-wise or...
No. The basement was mainly storage and we used to do the mail order side out of the basement.
Yeah.
We never did any... We were never involved in any of the illegal raves.
Yeah.
We knew people who were doing them and we DJ'd at some of them, but we never actually promoted any of them.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't worth the risk, you know what I mean? For us at the time, we're too visible.
Yeah.
Too much of an easy target to hit. And we were, the police tried to hit us on numerous occasions for our various things and just weren't worth getting involved in it.
I believe that you're putting on some events for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, it's our 40th this year. So after a little battle with the council, we've managed to get a license.
Another battle?
Well, a little battle with the licensing, really.
No barristers this time, or?
No. We applied for a license to put music outside the shop and a bar and do that. Our licensing officer kicked off and wasn't having it. So we ended up going to arbitration with the council. Me and Ben, who work here, went to the council, this meeting with the licensing guy there, and they were open arms. Yeah, do it. So it's just the licensing that was being a bit arsy about it. So yeah, we've got a license to do it. 26th of July, Saturday.
Yeah.
The music outside, 12 till 10, and then music inside after that.
Yeah.
So a little street party.
Graham Massey DJing.
Graham's headlining that night. Yeah. So it's mainly like people from the past. So we've got ex-staff. Hopefully, we're still waiting, but I think we've got Mr. Scruff on...
Mr. Scruff.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say for sure yet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. Friday, Mark McKinley, XTC.
Yeah.
He's doing Marcus Intellects used to work here.
Yeah.
That's where he started. Mark and Marcus used to be the Intellects at the time. So if you look at some of the early stuff, it was the pair of them, and then they split and Marcus did his own stuff. So Mark's going to be playing like a tribute set to the Intellects. He's going to be playing the early Intellect stuff and some of the later Marcus stuff. So that should be that's a Friday night in here, inside. That should be good. But there's music all day, Friday from 12, inside. So deck to the back there, music inside all day. And then on the Saturday, it's outside. On the Sunday, it's inside.